Yeah, mate, we got hards on. We're going to the end.
I knew this day would come. What's the SpongeBob song? Sweet, sweet, sweet victory. Yeah, I didn't sing it. It's a bit late. Would have been a bit weird to start singing out Sweet Victory, SpongeBob Jam. To be honest, I am actually thinking maybe a little bit happy. Hards on. Got the hards on. We're going to the end podcast about the Max Verstappen not winning. I was under the illusion that Max Verstappen had won every single race this season, but apparently I think actually Perez won one. It was like the first or second race, and I'd completely forgotten about it. Or not the show and/or. It's a great stick around. Blocked it out of my mind, I think. So in my head, like Verstappen was going to be on for doing like an invincible season type thing and win every single race, and maybe that was the case. But I don't think that is the case. I think Perez won a race, so this was technically only the first non-Red Bull win. Regardless, it's sweet victory. Get it back playing, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful scenes. Verstappen lost, and this isn't like a Verstappen thing. It could be anyone. It's just like I'm just happy like races are fun again. I forgot how sweet this tastes, and like. It was kind of this thing. We was all kind of pretending like, oh, you know what? Maybe we want to see greatness. We all want to witness greatness. Maybe we want to see this Red Bull full season win domination thing. Maybe we want to see him break these records. And maybe this is what we want. And if we ignore Verstappen, it's actually a really exciting season. And if we ignore Verstappen, it's actually been a really close race. And now we don't have to ignore anything. We can watch it all with 2020 visions, right? And we can see clear as day, right? What we could potentially have here, which is a competitive race, not just seconds to 20th, but at the front. We had 4 to 5 to 6 to... It was mainly 4 cars fighting for a win. When's the last time you could say that, Jeff? Oh, Jesus. As you can tell, I'm a bit happy about it. It's best race of the season. I'm saying it right now. I'm saying it right now. I'm saying it loud and saying it proud because it's the best race of this season. And now look, you may have enjoyed Monza for the sort of inner mental side of it, the sort of fun sort of like the Ferrari and the pomp of it, and they could fuck and this and that, the prestige of it all. You might have liked Zandvoort for the sort of the crazy rain and the spanners in the works, the what's going on, the mental. You might have loved Australia for the pure chaos. You may have loved Silverstone for whatever your reasons are. Maybe you got British bias. Silverstone was actually really good though. But let me tell you one thing that those races had that this race didn't have. Let me tell you one thing what it had. Who was sitting in P1? Yeah. Who was sitting in P1 in all those races and probably dominated the whole weekend? Probably was on pole, probably got fastest lap. It was Max Verstappen. And I love whichever the one is, Austria, right? Well, the time penalties, that's my favorite track. I loved it. It was great. But I'm pretty sure Verstappen won the sprint, won the race, put it on pole twice, and got fastest lap at that weekend. I think that's what he did. Today, look, it's all fun and games, having an entertaining race and things being thrown around and penalties and this and that. And it's great. But the most important thing is having that excitement also at the front and having to like ignore whoever's out in front who's like doing weather forecast readings, whatever Verstappen does when he's 45 seconds ahead, right? You know, not having to do that and also like having actual interest in, you know, what should be the most important part of the race, the front, is great again. We made races great again. I know. The famous words. And it feels great. And let's wheel it up to quali, because we've obviously got to rate my quali. It's the first sector of this, POD. And I'm rating it a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. Look, and that's just on bias. I could give it a 10 if, I don't know. I like Sainz, but I'd prefer to see other drivers on pole, so it's just a bias thing. The main reason, again, that I'm giving it such a high rating is down to the fact that Red Bulls weren't even in Q3. This isn't an anti-Red Bull thing. It's not an anti-Verstappen thing. It's not just like I find it exciting whenever Verstappen doesn't do well or Perez doesn't do well. It's just the mere fact that they've became the bane of my life this season, and the bane. It's became that anti-fun. It's not fun anymore. It's not fun. I like fun. I want fun. That's why I'm watching it. And it could be really boring, really paint by numbers. The whole thing could have been red flags, whatever. But just the excitement in the fact that, oh my god, the Red Bulls aren't gonna be pushing for pole. It's like exciting, and I loved it. And I want to say, I would have been fuming, absolutely fuming, if Verstappen put it on pole, or even if he finished he got P10 and he only got into Q3 and he couldn't get any further, right? I still would have been fuming, okay? Because let me wheel it back. Let's rewind, okay, to Spa, where a similar thing happened, and whether it's man or machine or whatever the reasons were for that one or this one, right? The chink in the armor, vulnerabilities shown. Human, ooh, he bleeds, right? Spa, the opportunity was there. He was out. He was ready to be shot at. The guy was ready to be shot. Right? He was there for the taking, and there was a couple of AlphaTauris, a couple of Alpines, some cars who should be improving and should be doing it. No one shot him when they had the chance, when the car wasn't the best in them conditions or whatever it was, right? He didn't put the best lap together. He's arguing on the team radio with the engineer, whatever it is, going back and forth with some sort of sarcastic little kind of, how they do, right? And he was there, and no one took it, and I was fuming. He then goes and puts it on pole, and he runs away with the race. And it's like, think little differences here. Think about how different it could have been if you killed him there when you had the chance. Now in that race, he could have maybe came back through and even won it from P11. We'll never know, right? But in this race, when he was there to be killed, he was. When the elusive becomes visible, you best not miss. And today, Liam Lawson did not miss. Red Bull junior driver killing a Red Bull Galactico. And oh my god, it's enough to make the soft on go hard on. Oh my god, it's very on brand, you have to say. I love it. And look, a lot of people have been calling for Liam Lawson. They said they've been wanting him for a long time. I don't watch F2, but I've obviously heard about him, known about him, hear about him all the time. You see Twitter and all this other stuff. He's been doing the other little fucking race league thing, which apparently is really good. I can't remember what it's called, but apparently it's better than F2 in some ways, and it's better for preparing you for Formula 1 in some ways, apparently. And look, I've like I said, I've got no reason to sort of like Liam yet, but what I will say is things like this are going to make me like you real quick, son. Because obviously I'm a Ricardo guy. I want Ricardo to get that seat. I quite like Yuki. Yuki's a sort of fun bundle of joy when he's not screaming at his team in the car. But stuff like this, Liam, I like that. He's been very gradual with it, but very quickly. Like he's not done it all at once. Like within like the 3 races, it was just sort of, from what I remember, sort of like quiet, but does what he needs to do. Doesn't do anything bad. Nothing actively bad. Doesn't spin out or crash it, right? Then he kind of goes, okay, let me dip my toe in. Nice little overtake on Leclerc, very established, good driver. He gets him back immediately, but still. And then it's like, decent race, brings it home P11 or whatever. Maybe that was that same race. And now it was like, I'm gonna kill a god. I'm gonna be a god butcher, and I'm gonna get points this weekend. Fair play, Liam Lawson. Now I don't want the success of you to be the downfall of Ricardo, even though maybe that's better for the world and it's more right, and I kind of subscribe to the fact that we should be giving the younger people a chance. You've had your go, you fucked it, you had to humble yourself, you had other opportunities to get a seat here, you didn't want it, and then you had to humble yourself and get it. And maybe there's reasons why we shouldn't give Ricardo, but Ricardo, I just think I can't deny Ricardo. He's sort of like, when he does well, it's exciting, and I want exciting people in the sport ultimately, and I think that's also something I got to take into account. And I'm not saying Liam Lawson's not exciting, I don't know anything about him yet, but I just think there's other personalities in the sport that I watch it for entertainment, you know what I mean? I'm not in love with cars or engines or aerodynamics and stuff like that. I watch it for the entertainment, the personalities, the wins, the radios, things like this. And I enjoy the race as well. I watch them in the overtakes and like, side by side, 2-6 Ted, but yeah, it's drama first and foremost. Let's read through it here then. So we did quali. Was that everything in quali? Let me check. We killed Verstappen. That's the main takeaway. That's all I really remember. I mean, Sainz put it on pole. You got to say fair play. Leclerc's not just been at it really with Sainz for a couple races now, leading people to kind of say Sainz is better than Leclerc, which is ludicrous. Don't disrespect my boy Leclerc. I've really grown to love Leclerc. It's been a lot of people kind of just love Leclerc from the offset. With me, I've always liked Leclerc enough, but it's never diminished. It's always through like fadings, or like when he's in the depths of hell, which is most of the time, or when he's on the top. It's just always been turning up. Me and Leclerc. That sounds crazy, but it's a fiery passion we've got going on. But the last few races, it has been a little bit off for him. But I think that's just less that. It's a bit of both. Leclerc's maybe a little bit off right now. Sainz a little bit on. Maybe the tracksuit Sainz a little bit more. I don't know. But Sainz has always been a great driver, in my opinion. I've always liked Sainz. I've always thought he was massively underrated. I've always thought he's been massively underrated up here. Now he is very much rated there. He knows he's good with strategy. He's good with the rain. He knows what to do. I always argue if he's a killer or not, and that kind of side to him. Some of his radios sometimes when he's in positions and he doesn't want to be challenged by his teammates and things like that. That's the only thing about him. But I've always really rated him, like, since I've been watching, really. So I'm happy he's doing well. It's just one of those things, like, there was a brief, 6-month period where I kind of went off Russell and back on now. And I was one of the beginning winners at Williams. But it's like, I want Russell to do well. It's just like, I don't want him to do well instead of Hamilton or better than Hamilton kind of thing. So it's kind of like that. I like Sainz. I really want Sainz to do well, but not when it's creating the narrative against Leclerc, you know what I mean? I just can't get over the Verstappen thing. That was like the most joyous I was the whole weekend, probably. Because it was like, I remember I was watching Theo Von's podcast like a while ago, and he had Sunday Conversations. What's his name? I always forget it, and sometimes it comes to Caleb Presley. And they were talking about how they were turkey hunting. They were looking for some gobblers, as they would say, right? And, they were looking for gobblers. And they were doing this turkey hunting, and you got to dress up like, not turkeys, but I don't know if they were or not. In my cartoon mind, how I imagine things, they were dressed up as turkeys. And, oh, dog. Yeah, they were dressed up as turkeys, and it was like, they said you have to wait for hours. They went days, no turkeys. They go have lunch, whatever, they come back, no turkeys. Okay, we'll go sleep, come back tomorrow, we'll look, no turkeys. And then they're in the car on the way back, and it's like, they'll see some gobblers. And it's like, the second they saw it was like, okay, now, and then for a split second you're like, oh, do I actually want to be a killer? Do I actually want to kill a little turkey? Oh, maybe it's kind of cute. Bang! Blow the turkey's brains out, because we've been here for days, so you best not miss. And when that little Max Verstappen, that's not, I don't know what a turkey sounds, right? When little Max Verstappen walks out, bang! Shot. Bang. Dead. Bites the dust. Loved it. Because, I think Gasly went through and he didn't do it. And I thought, not again. And then Liam Lawson comes through. It could have been a cold moment, but Crofty messed up the commentary. It was like, it's a no doubt Lawson. Oh my God. It kind of just made it less dead. I didn't get goosebumps, nothing, but still. So Liam Lawson's getting the love, although he's not going to get one of the soft, medium, hard awards. Sorry, but I reserve those for other people, Liam, for this race. But I did appreciate that. Thank you, sir. So race rundown. Obviously, Sainz sort of runs away from everyone. Perez, man, it's turning into Drive to Survive when around Perez, and I don't appreciate what's going on right now. Perez sort of complaining about, think about Monza. George completely pushed me off there. That sounded nothing like Perez. George completely pushed me off there. And then you watch the replay and it's like, you just drove off the road, Perez. You just drove straight off the road. And a couple of moments, look, whether you want to say it was a penalty or not, as someone who's sometimes in football, something is a handball or something is a thing and that, and then someone can look up sort of the rule book and say, well, this in this subsection here, that was technically the right decision. Okay, change the rule then, because this is stupid. It's shit for the sport, shit decision. And I can't remember why I was mad about it, but the penalty for Hamilton in Spa, I'm like, come on, what are we? Can we not even? What are we doing here now? Annoyed about Hamilton today. How has Hamilton not got a penalty? This guy's driving like 2017 Max Verstappen or whatever. He's going crazy. He's not doing that well. He's still behind Verstappen. He finished P13. I mean, he qualified P13. Don't know where he finished in the race, but I don't know. I'm not a big Perez guy, so I'm always going to be extra hard on Perez, which is sad because Perez is probably one of the nicest people on the grid, but I'm just not a Perez guy, unfortunately. So we're just harsh on Perez here, really. I did give him credit, I think, last race weekend or the one before, but it don't happen too regularly. I'll say that. This dog is giving me the eyeballs. If you wanna. There you go. What else? Perez can't drive. I mean, so he hit Tsunoda, right? And then I didn't see him hit Albon, but apparently he took Albon out or crashed into Albon. He's just getting leery. And I remember at which one is it? It's the race where I think it's the race where Norris broke Verstappen's trophy, right? And I think Perez got like driver of the day in this race, and he was like doing that thing where he comes back through the pack. Whoa, Perez! And then the commentators were loving him that day, just giving him bare credit, like, oh, he's getting his elbows out. Oh, that's what we love from Perez. Oh, tasty, with like Piastri and stuff. And I didn't think he was doing anything too impressive then. I just feel like he shows off a bit. He's like a bit like he's like that. He's a kid at like the family party, and he's like break dancing in between everyone and that. He's just showing off a bit, and he's like getting the elbows out just too literally. Sometimes he's got both elbows out and his kneecaps, and it's just like, you're just not driving that good though. I don't know. But then again, I'm probably just being biased because I probably watch Russell do like the same thing, and I'm like, whoa, so I'm a very I can't even lie about it. It was good, 2 safety cars. I mean, I want to give a round of applause as well to low-key sort of, he's going to go under the radar for what he's been doing recently for this sport, but it won't be underappreciated from this corner, which is Logan Sargent. I said it before, Logan Sargent, if you're going to be in the sport and like not really impress or do anything well, but just be here for 2 years and go, at least crash more, at least cause more debris, more safety cars. Because before it was like P17, 16 most races, and he just wouldn't do anything. And it's like, okay, so you're not like as bad as Shaw, Mazepin or Latifi technically, but to me you're worse because you're not providing me any excitement. And even though part of Latifi's mishaps did lead to Hamilton not getting his 8th, which I would have liked, for the most part it made races more fun. You need the back markers occasionally, like the dregs at the bottom need to occasionally be adding spanners to the works, or they're not doing their job right. And I think the head of, Formula One, the gods that be, came to Logan Sargent in a dream and grabbed him and said, hey, you little American Eagle, yeah, you know what you're meant to be doing here, get in there, get the wheel going and spin that bitch. And I'm very appreciative of it, because him today, you get that safety car that fucks the Red Bulls even more. I love that. Did also mess up Leclerc, didn't love that, but yeah, it's just sort of bad time. You could argue maybe it was a bit of his fault for backing him up a little bit too much, I'm not sure. But he gets jumped by Norris, and he goes on to have a fine race, finishes P4. Not fine as in fine job, but fine as in it was alright, all things considered. And but it's what I mean though, because up until then I was thinking, Singapore, man, I mean, people, it's the heat and this is what people talk about, but pretty boring race so far, eh? But that changed, and from then on I was locked in. It was exciting, especially just after safety car when everyone was getting racy and the Red Bulls dropping behind, we're seeing overtakes. It then dimmed a little, but then it was just fun till the end. So that really put things in motion. So undercover hero, I don't know, that doesn't sound right, but that's the last I'm going to say. Logan Sargent, man, well done to you, sir. Any people like you in my life. Norris and Sainz, it's crazy. I love to see it ultimately. And I was, Formula 1 wasn't at the same time as Chelsea when we were playing Bournemouth, which ended up being a 0-0 ball draw. Well, there was like good. It wasn't like a ball draw. It's just annoying because we need to actually start picking up points. But so I didn't have the sound on for large parts of this race, so I didn't know what was happening. And I turned it on because I'm like, whoa, Norris is like, wait, could Norris get his first win here? I would love, like, Norris looks like he's pushing for a winner. I know where, like, him and Sainz didn't box the second time, and the Mercedes did, so they could come back and be really strong at the end. And it's like, wait, and I turn it on, it's like, it's less sort of Norris is really pushing Sainz here, but it's like Norris and Lando and Sainz and their soul bond that will last till the end of time. You know, Norris 0.8 seconds behind. Yeah, it's on purpose. You know, Norris coming in, sort of trying to stay behind Sainz. All of a sudden, he's got to defend Russell, and he falls out of the DRS. And it's like, oh no, he's farts. And Sainz is like, oh, it's like, it reminds me of, like, you know, in Minecraft when, like, you gotta get an animal to your sheep farm, to your farm. Sorry, I'll say that again. You know, in Minecraft, right, when you got to get your animal back to the farm, and, like, you're using, like, seeds or whatever, and, like, you're bringing them over, and you're kind of, like, bringing them, and you kind of trying to do it as quickly as possible, and, like, turning away, and you're turning back, you're still there, and you get a bit impatient, and you run ahead a little bit, and you turn around, and you still fall, and you kind of lose, like, the hitbox kind of thing, whatever, and they kind of lose interest and walk away. You kind of went too quick, and you were too far for them to keep interest in the seeds. That was, like, signs. Like, he's holding the seeds out to the little chicken that is Norris, just sort of, yep, come on, yep, and then eventually drags him over the line. Brilliant stuff. And I know, like, it benefited Norris' race, and in a smart brainiac way it also benefited Sainz' race, but at the same time we all know it's just because they have this soul bond, and it's like, sort of, we're on the podium together, Lando. You know, Muppets show up there, and I love it. That being said, this is my bias showing. Pull the zipper up, because I got, if Ocon and Perez had this great relationship, and Ocon did that for Perez or vice versa to get P1 and P2, I would sit here being like, that's the most bitch fucking ratty little, I'm gonna tell you a lot, but I already know I'd be saying that, but it wasn't, and it didn't, so that's what I'm gonna say. And then finally Russell bins it, which, you know, I like Russell, and I'd be more than happy with him having a good race and finishing like P3 or P4. But it's just the fact that Hamilton was behind him, and ultimately him crashing meant that Hamilton got on the podium and he scored more points than Russell. And if he didn't bin it on that final lap, Russell would have outqualified him and got more points and the podium this race, and it didn't happen. So I was kind of like, yes, there's a bit of drama though. I like that. I was like, it means Hamilton's above. I like that, but I don't wish for Russell to crash. He's got his curtains going on right now. He's in his curtains era, and we're here for it. And I tell you, it was curtains for Russell's race. And I see people, like, on social media, like, I like Hamilton as well, but they love him so much. Like, any little thing, it's like, why are you doing interviews for Russell? Why are you not just enjoying Hamilton's great podium? Why are we not talking about Hamilton? Like, people get so... If we're not talking about Hamilton every second of the day, it's like, why is Verstappen gets all of the... Why is Verstappen not getting penalties if it was Hamilton? Why are we showing pictures of Russell with Hamilton? It's just like, oh my God, man. People in this is sport obsessed. But yeah, I was happy about it. And, like, I was listening to the Red Flags podcast before I've done this, which I don't usually do, but, like, Matt said something. He's like one of the hosts, and he was like, I think Matt said it. He said, you hear Hamilton say, like, on the radio, as Russell is, like, driving as fast as he can, literally like on a straight, like almost side, like wheel to wheel, like side to side with Norris, about to, like, go in and overtake him. As he's doing that, he's on the radio like, so what, is Russell going as fast as he can go, or what? Because if he's going a bit faster, then I I think you should try push and type of thing. And I thought nothing of it, and maybe it was nothing on it. Maybe he was trying to angle at I just think it's nothing of it. At most, he's angling for maybe them to do team orders and switch it and let him have a go at most, which is unlikely to happen. But then, like, they were talking about it, and it was like kind of looking at it in a way that Hamilton knows these streets. He knows what Russell's like. He's had teammates. He's had Rosberg, and he's had Bottas, and he's had Russell now, and he's had Button, and all these people, and he's been in the game a while. And this is where he comes in. This is where you get wily. And sometimes the stuff that's out of your control, just putting your nose in, just sort of being there, breathing down the neck, saying little things on the radio, like whisper this in the engineer's ear, because you know that's going to feed to the other engineer. He's going to talk to Russell and be like, Hamilton's saying, can you go a bit faster? He wants to switch orders. And then Russell's going to be like, I'm pushing for my life here. I'll say something dramatic. And then that's just going to like be in the back of his head, and he knows what Russell's like, and he's maybe going to push it a little bit too far, and then Hamilton could be there to clean up the scraps. And it's that type of stuff I love, where you hear it, you're like, yeah, that's kind of cold. And like, it's not even necessarily true, but it's like at Silverstone, where like Norris is just taking like the inside line immediately as he comes out the corner to like defend or whatever, I guess, going into the next corner. It's like where you need to be putting his car in the best place. But there happens to be a puddle there, and it looks like something out of like a Mario Kart race, but he's like running over this puddle to like drop a banana on Hamilton behind, and it like sprays up in the car behind, and it looks like a cool move. And it's so much more fun to imagine it as like he's doing this like sort of like little tactic he just came up with, like resourceful, like SAS, just sort of water into it, onto his windshield, just sort of these little tactics up here. It's more fun to think that. It's more fun to say Hamilton was like doing this little like big brain move. He's like, this will get into the mind of Russell in like the smart, like just be like, can Russell go any quicker? Because you know what Russell's like. It's going to feed to Russell, and he might make it. And then to just drive through and be like, oh, that's sick. That's like the coldest. That's like my coldest moment, and it's not even like here we go for Fabrizio Romano confirmed. But yeah, great race, genuinely great. Much enjoyed it. I'm gonna get pulled back down to earth so hard that I fall through the floorboards for Suzuka, but hey, you can't win them all. Hard, medium, soft. I forgot to do that award type thing. Soft is gonna go to Perez. My bias knows no bounds. Ultimately, look, the Red Bulls didn't have a good week. They didn't get to Q3 either of them, and you still got out qualified by Verstappen, but hey, what's new? And then in the race, you were kind of just sort of thereabouts, throwing yourself around and not really coming out the best of anyone. Medium, I'm actually going to give to Russell, because even though he, he crashed out on the final of that, he was having a really good race. I like Russell, and he also out qualified Hamilton. He qualified like P3, right? Or P2, was it P2 or P3 up there? Hamilton was down P5, and then hard award, you got to give it signs. You know, I think it was good up here and good up here and good in the hands too. It was good big brain moves, and it was good driving overall, and you just got everything right there. And I think it'd be unfair not to give him the hard award. But yeah, like I already said, Suzuka next, and I don't think I've seen a race of Suzuka yet, so another track that I've not seen races at before, and I very much look forward to it. See, then we got hards on. We're going to the end.